Hey everyone, Mtashed here, and today I wanted to talk about nerfing and buffing things. I know this is a hot topic. Things have been changing in Destiny. I've made a couple videos about this already, but it's very important to talk about when you're looking at the arguments made about nerfs and buffs. There's some people online saying they should just nerf this, they should just nerf that, and that might not be the most sound advice, because if you nerf everything, then everything sucks and the game is dry and the game is boring. But then there's a counter argument saying, well, they should just buff everything and bring everything in line with the strongest things. And I understand where you're coming from, but then you have an issue called power creep. So power creep is the overall general increase in power that you see in a game as time goes on. In a game like Destiny, as they add new guns and new classes, if they're slightly better every time, eventually all the old content and all the old things you had become obsolete. If next expansion they released pulse rifles that kill in 2 bursts instead of 3, and they're extremely accurate, and they're extremely stable, for the most part, you'd only see people using those pulse rifles. Power creep has dictated that those pulse rifles are now way better than everything else. Why would you use the other ones? The old stuff is obsolete. But if they added 3 new classes that had great little passives, let's say they all had quick draw, well, that's a very good passive to have on a class. That's why Blade Dancer is used even in some cases, because quick draw is amazing. But if every single class now has that, there is now power creep saying, well, every class now moving forward is going to have quick draw. Everything is going to be a little bit more powerful. So you won't see as many people playing the old Blade Dancer if this new class has a better super and quick draw that made Blade Dancer good. And now I know that sounds stupid. Well, why would everything have quick draw? But if you look at a game like League of Legends, what you started to find is pretty well every new champion that was released started having a dash ability. And they started having a thing called mobility creep, where a lot of the old heroes, the old champions that were being used, started becoming worse and worse and worse, because in a lot of engagements, they couldn't catch their opponents. They couldn't dash out of a skill shot. They couldn't move around the map as effectively as everyone else. And the same thing could happen in Destiny. If they started adding abilities like Shade Step to every single class, some sort of dash ability, if they made a Titan that could Twilight Garrison without using a Twilight Garrison, they would start having a thing of mobility creep. And you need to realize that this game has so many variables. There are so many grenades and classes and guns. And if you start buffing everything, you're still going to have the issue where one thing is stronger than the other. If you start buffing all hand cannons, well, guess what? Thorn and Last Word just got really, really good again. If you start buffing sniper rifles and shotguns, well, you just killed fusion rifles because no one is going to touch them. And if you continually buff things in this game, you're going to get to the point where everything is fucking annoying. You're going to get one bang by every grenade, and you're going to get 2 tapped by everything, and it's going to feel fast. Yes, absolutely. I understand there's some people that want this game to feel fast and quick. But the quicker this game gets and the more powerful things get, the less time there is for counterplay, and the less time there is for, to be honest, skill to shine. There's going to be a difference between someone that can accurately 2-hit you in the head and someone that is just bodying people with a thorn. I understand that. But if the general population can get a 2-hit kill with pretty well any gun they use, you start losing a skill gap, because even though you normally would be able to outduel someone, you can't, because their gun is really fucking strong and your gun is really fucking strong. If they buff everything, it turns into Call of Duty, and it turns into who sees who first. And I don't think a lot of players want that. But, hey, maybe I'm completely wrong, as I always am, right? Because I'm a fucking idiot. Anyways, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.